Show you some of the features of the Fantom-S 88. We're going to start out with telling you about the sampler in it. It's got a sampler with incredible features. It's got computer-style graphic editing. It's got the largest sample RAM of any workstation on the market. Velocity-sensitive pad. We call it dynamic pad bank. They work really well when you assign keyboard sounds to them, but when you assign drum sounds to them, they really show their strength. We're going to make a 4-bar loop here and take it from there. Adding an audio track. It's a guitar line I sampled the other day from the studio. Now I add a loop. I'm going to add some vocals that I sampled from the studio.
It's just the things you do that's got me into you. The way you're turning me on, I like it.
Sample some keyboard lines. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to play a Rhodes in real time against it. Now bass line. Another great feature of this instrument, it's got something called skip back sampling. What that does is it's a continuously running sampler, and it'll record your ideas, whether you're playing them in real time or, like I just did, make a loop. So I just sampled it. Now I'm going to assign it to a key or a pad. I think I'll do a key this time. It's one of the easiest samplers to use on the market. Now we're going to perform real-time time stretching, which is really a difficult feat. Listen to the especially close attention to the vocals. I'm going to speed the tempo up. Notice how the vocals track the tempo with the rest of the MIDI instruments. This instrument especially shows its strength that way. That coupled with 4 expansion card slots, you have access to Roland's extensive library. It's got the largest sample base RAM of any workstation on the market. Great feeling dynamic pads, awesome sampler, great dynamic effects for mixing down.
Of course, Roland has always had incredible piano sounds. With the Fantom-S and the Fantom-88, we've taken it to another level. Of course, the dynamics are always impeccable in every range of the keyboard. And the new action, the PA5 action, really just makes playing piano on this keyboard just a lot of fun. Also, some amazing electric pianos. Again, you have all that dynamic. You got the bite that you need. So I'm going to add this audio loop.
But a little bit more first about one of the other cool packages offered with the Fantom-S and the Fantom-S 88, which is our Editor Librarian software program. So again, it's a free software program that we're including as part of the package, and it's going to allow you to edit all the parameters of the Fantom-S, all the different patches and performances are all right on screen here. And it also allows me to show you one of the really cool features, which is our 16-step LFO. And of course, for those of you who know that LFO basically allows us to create some motion and some rhythm into the sound with some oscillations happening underneath the patch. Well, this 16-step LFO allows us to take this standard sine wave and customize it into a contoured waveform that can be totally customized with these 16 steps, so you can create some really amazingly creative and motion-oriented sounds.
So I'm going to take the keyboard now has a couple of different sounds zoned in different places of the keyboard. First one, here's a nice example of the step LFO. Hear all those oscillations. Okay, it's also velocity sensitive. Listen to the pattern. I'm going to play a little bit harder. Check it out how it's now totally different. Now I'm going to play even harder. Now I have a totally different set of, like an arpeggiated pattern, but it's not. It's all LFO. Now, let's go look at the tempo of the sequencer clock. Perfectly in sync. Now I'm going to bring some audio into the picture. So now I got an audio loop going along with all these other LFO patches. Perfectly in sync. Very, very powerful.
So even profound changes in tempo do not pull the audio and the MIDI out of sync with one another because of a feature in the Fantom-S called real-time time stretching, which is the capability of the Fantom-S to basically be able to control the tempo of the audio and MIDI at the same time. So it's that incorporation of audio and MIDI, blurring the lines between audio and MIDI, which makes this an extremely powerful music production tool, saving you a lot of time.
So now I'm going to play one of the arpeggiated patterns that's inside the Fantom S88. Now, let's go and take a look at this. Now we can go through the different patterns, and you can see the different motivic ideas that's happening. Okay. Now, once you find the pattern that you like, let's go in and we can edit them. Now here they come in. Now see those bars at the bottom? Those are now velocity levels. We could change those so we can really give some motion and sort of life to these repetitive patterns. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some audio into the picture here. Okay? This is an audio loop. Again, now we're perfectly in sync with each other because they all go to the same clock. Now I'm going to hit the arpeggiator hold. I can take my hands off the keyboard and start tweaking knobs and twisting buttons and so on. And slow it down a little bit. Perfectly in sync. I can also assign parameters to the mod wheel. Turn the level of the arpeggiator off.
We're going to build something from scratch, and Scott's going to show you exactly how the music production process is made so simple and so fast with the Fantom-S.
Okay, I'm going to go through a process that I think is pretty familiar to most of us. However, with the Fantom-S, we have a totally different approach. We have, of course, the keyboard, but we also have another completely independent control surface, which are these pads, these 16 independent pads, velocity sensitive, send aftertouch, everything that a key does, these pads will do. So what I have assigned here, I have a MIDI drum kit. Also, I have some audio snips.
Something about you, baby.
Okay, so let's go through here and just kind of step through the process. I'm going to go over here and put my loop to 4 bars. Go over here to quantize, turn that on to grid, so it's going to rhythmically fix what I play if I make any clams. So I'm just going to bang out my drum beat here. 3, 4. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the guitar, the audio. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Do it again. Now I'll do some vocals.
Something about you, baby.
Okay? So now we have our audio and our drums that I've all programmed in from the pads. Now I'm going to go over here and sort of add all the other MIDI stuff from the keyboard. Go over to my mixer screen. First thing I'm going to do is add a little electric piano, I think.
Something about you, baby.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Just sort of filling in the holes. Now I'm going to add another little string part, layered with harpsichord. Now I'm going to add the bass part, and I'm just switching tracks so you can kind of see how it's going. Here's the bass. 1, 2, 3.
Something about you, baby.
Okay, so there's our basic track.
So that's how quick and easy it is to make a complete sounding loop with some simple tools on the Fantom-S, and it's aided by the fact that it's such a beautiful display, such an easy to get around on instrument. In fact, we can easily change sounds just by going to the part list and look at all the different bass sounds, for example, by categories.
Okay, so we're at the bass part now. Now, if you look over here to the right, all of those sounds there are all of the bass instruments that are inside the Fantom. If I had expansion boards in here, you would see all the basses that exist there. So you can search through all of the different bass sounds, find which one will fit the best for this particular groove. I think I want a synth bass sound, so I'm going to go down here, choose this one. I think that feels good.
And now we go back to the mix screen, and this is where we can actually do real-time mixing and even automated mixing. So Scott changes the levels of some of those faders. He's actually recording those fader movements. So we can automate our mix and make it perfect as we're sequencing. We're still sequencing. And of course, we can set up the tempo to be suited perfectly for the groove that we're creating.
Right now, the tune seems to be a little bit on the edge, so we're just going to take a little bit off.
And notice everything's slowing down, including the samples, but the samples are not changing pitch. Real-time time stretching. So now that we've got it the way we want it, we've got the right tempo, the right mix, the right sounds, everything's automated. It's time to capture this with one button. Couldn't be easier. Skip back sampling. Nail it, Scott.
Here we go.
There's the blue button.
Okay.
And now it does the time warp. And we've captured the entire groove. And Scott's going to map it so we can play it from a key on the keyboard.